Hey Tyler, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and talk about your mechanics, your delivery, look at your motion, slowing it down. For you, you have a real good sense of everything. You're doing a lot of good things. Everything looks real good. It's just a matter of what you're doing at your foot strike through your release. So there's a lot of things that you're doing good initially, which is sort of the hard part. Now it's a matter for you is staying back a little bit longer through your release, and just getting a little bit more of your body. You're just getting a little bit out in front of yourself, and you're just losing a little bit of momentum with your hips. You're just losing a little bit of power and getting a little bit of velocity. So there's just a few tweaks that you can do to try to stay back a little bit longer, and I'll go through and talk about that. But initially everything's good. Everything's working kind of in sync with each other. Now it's just a matter of just making a few adjustments. So we'll go and talk about that. So initially off the bat, wind-up wise, nice small movements. Everything's good. You're on line, eyes on the target. All right, everything's solid here. All right, now what we need to see happen at that height of your leg kick right here. Let me go back a little bit. So once that leg gets nice and high, all right, it's tough to see this angle, but it looks like that knee and that foot is over that back hip. All right, now we need hips going forward. We need hands to break and foot to just kind of drop, lag behind your hips. All right, so you see that you're getting good. You're getting those hips going, that foot staying back. All right, you're breaking your hands over that rubber. All right, everything's good. You're maintaining good posture. Initially you could probably get a little bit closed longer. Meaning, just keep this foot behind that hip, maybe a couple extra frames. Now it's here, now it starts to kick out. But again, I'm nitpicking there a little bit because it's still pretty good. All right, so now basically here's sort of where we run into some problems is right out here. All right, so what we're seeing here, all right, is you're getting this leg bent. And it's basically straight, and just kind of staying straight, and then you're really reaching out, and what you're seeing here is you're seeing a shift of weight from your back side to your front side. All right, so basically, and that's in the air. So we're seeing that weight shift. So now that front foot, so once that front foot hits the ground, now we're shifted down over our front side. All right, so what we want to see here is more load in this back leg, more load in this back hip, keeping this ear over this back hip at your foot strike. So once this front foot hits the ground, which is somewhere between this frame and that frame, we want to try to see more load back here, meaning that heel's up a little bit more off that ground, that knee's turned a little bit more down towards the ground. We're seeing this angle here, all right, and then we're seeing pretty much the same angle there. We're just getting more of a load back here. So now this back ear, is going to go from here, it's just going to be over that back hip a little bit more. All right, we just need to stay back a little bit longer, so then we can get down over that front foot, utilize more of those hips. Because you see, as you turn, basically what we want to see is we want to see lower body turn before that upper body. So you can see how the hips and the shoulders go at the same time. All right, and that's just because you're getting out ahead of yourself. And you just aren't transferring that energy forward because you're not staying back enough. So what we want to try to see is, here's your foot strike. We want to try to see this upper body with these hips. All right, so you can see how you're just still out a little bit ahead of yourself. So we want to see those hips go first, and then that upper body go. All right, so you're just rotating at the same time. You're not getting that hip-shoulder separation. All right, and that's just the cause of this straight leg. We want to try to maintain a little bit more load back here and in the hip. So then through that foot strike, we're seeing that weight shift down over that front foot. But the biggest thing that we're going to see is that because you're going to have more stored up, you're going to be able to get farther down over that front foot. So you're releasing right here. You can see this back knee sort of collapsed. You're right here, head's over that back foot. We're going to start seeing, using more legs, staying farther back, we're going to start seeing that leg straighten. You're going to start seeing that head drive down over that front foot, and you're just going to start seeing, this triangle a little bit more. So you're just going to get more powerful from your foot strike through your release. All right, so you're just out and ahead of yourself. You're just rotating at the same time. We want to try to get that hip rotating before that shoulder. So that's just where you're losing your energy. We want to try to get to a point where, as you're kind of coming down with this body, this knee starts to turn into the ground. So you can see how it just kind of stays out here and just kind of it gets straight, and that heel really doesn't come off the ground until you're starting to rotate with that shoulder. So we want to try to get, maybe that heel looks like this right at that initial foot strike. Alright, so just get to a point where you're staying farther back here, over that back hip more, and then that's just going to create that hip-shoulder separation, that torque a little bit more. Alright, arm path-wise, looking at everything, again, we don't want straight joints here, so we don't want to lock out the joints, so just try to get to a point where that elbow, that glove's just below that elbow. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but what that does is that creates the ability for us to rotate that elbow downwards. Alright, we can rotate that elbow down, keep that glove out front, instead of kind of have it drop down like you do here. Just kind of stick it right there, rotate that elbow down, hold it there, and then you can get farther out over that front foot. But the biggest thing for you is going to be to stay back. Through here, we're still staying back over this backside a little bit longer, and then really driving that energy, taking everything, extending that leg out to get out over that front foot. Alright. Again, and also at foot strike, arm health wise, this is a good spot to be in. It's the elbows shoulder height. We have this angle here. That the fingers are on the ball's facing the third base side. So everything's good there. Now it's just a matter of just getting that elbow a little bit more bent, and then just the biggest thing is just maintaining this weight back here as long as you can through that foot strike, and getting those hips going first before that upper body, and then really powering, driving down over that front foot. Alright, but like I said, everything's solid for you. Everything from start to foot strike is really good. Now it's just a matter of trying to have a little bit more body control, but just getting those hips going initially. This first one that we hadn't looked at yet, this one you really get that foot out before your hips, so you can really see this foot get out in front of the hips, and this foot leads. Right here, you can see now the foot's out in front. All right, we want to try to see more distance covered before that foot gets to this position. Before that foot gets here, we want to try to see your hips, down almost to this point here. We want to try to see more travel with your hips closed. So your legs looks like this position, but it's down here farther. So you're down here when you look at that position. So just initially, right here, hips going, all that legs doing, following behind your hips. So just get those legs going, get those hips going quicker, and then you can get out and stay back a little bit longer. Here's your other foot strike. You can just see that you're just out over that front hip a little bit. We just need everything staying back here. And you're going to get a lot more power, a lot more velocity, especially as you get older. So again, everything's solid, just a minor adjustment, staying back, and you're going to be good to go as you get stronger. So thanks for making it out to camp. Hopefully you had a great time. We look forward to seeing you again with ABC.